Good morning and thanks so much for tuning in. You're watching Trade Talk on Biki Prime. My name is Alex Mathew and with me is Hiral. Morning, Hiral.
Good morning, Alex.
Well, look at Asian markets and look at the US markets overnight. It's a positive handover from the US markets and heading into Asia this morning. Several factors, I think, at play. Of course, you saw the US jobs data, or effectively the jobless claim, not jobless claims, rather, the amount of vacancies have in fact reduced, which shows that there is a bit of a cooling of the job market there, which I think has been taken positively by the US markets. And in Asia, you have a few more murmurs, if you can call it that, or statements by people in China that say that there is going to be an infusion of funds, spending by the government to bolster growth there.
Absolutely. And the impact of that, if you have to see in terms of Indian markets, we could see some bit of a rub-off effect as well in terms of our markets. So it's going to be interesting to watch out in terms of today's session, because yesterday, clearly, if you go to see, it was an interesting mix that we saw. Metals and realty stocks actually outperformed,
Yes.
right? And that was the interesting fact to watch out for.
And specialty chemicals as well.
Yes, and specialty chemicals was another space which did see a strong move. Now, yesterday's opening was absolutely flat, but overall, markets were consolidating within the range, and the range has been absolutely narrow over the last couple of trading sessions. Metals, real estate, consumer durables, as well as auto, these were segments which did see buying interest. Metal sector was in momentum, and this is after China actually went ahead and announced a stimulus to support the economy. As Alex was mentioning, with regards to the niche sectors like specialty chemicals, that saw buying interest, and the reason for this was on the back of the surge in the chemical prices with regards to where the Chinese markets go. Now, that's how the overall markets were in yesterday's session. But from here on, what analysts are saying is that it is expected to be range bound, and this is on the back of lack of investor participation. There are no, actual fresh positive triggers to actually stimulate or bolster the market as well. Investors are actually trying to take selective bets, and there is actually consistent selling by FIs, as well as the poor monsoon in August has actually raised concerns as well. If you talk about the technical and the F&O part of it, Nifty has been hovering around its 50-day moving average, which is at around 19,359. And we are seeing positive consolidation near the 50-day SMA. Now, till the time Nifty holds above those 19,250 levels, this consolidation is expected to continue as well. Similarly, a similar trend is what we are seeing in terms of Bank Nifty, where the consolidation has continued. If you see the options data, you have the highest put OI at, the highest put OI at 19,300, whereas the highest call OI at 19,500. So that's the kind of range we should be watching out for. But clearly, even if there is positivity, it's going to be positive consolidation that is expected to continue in the Indian market.
Certainly. And in fact, if you looked at the range, you pointed it out that it was narrow, and we've seen 100-point odd range in the recent past, but yesterday it was even narrower. And you saw just about 70 points or thereabouts for the Nifty 50 from the high point to the low point of the day. Another factor I think is going to be interesting to watch in the coming weeks and months is going to be how crude works, because you saw yesterday, or rather overnight, you saw Brent crude go above that $85 per barrel mark because of a reduction in the reserves in the US. But if you look at Europe as a whole, and if you look at the US, heading into that winter season, it's going to be critical to see whether or not the supplies are going to be enough to take care of that increased demand, because generally that's when you see demand going up. So despite the concerns about growth in certain pockets, particularly in China, where that could have a bearing on crude prices, the balancing effect is coming from the expectation of increased demand.
Absolutely. And with that, the impact in terms of OMCs, you talk about paint companies, all of that will be, crucial to watch out for, because the kind of movement we see in crude prices, there is an immediate rub-off effect or a sentimental impact that comes in on these sectors.
Certainly. And in fact, let's also talk about the exploration side, the upstream company. In fact, we're focusing on ONGC at the start today, because quite a few updates from its annual general meeting. Of course, overnight, you also saw an update in terms of the company spending on its renewables side to diversify its energy operations. And that's going to be a spending of 2 lakh crore over a considerable amount of time, 1 lakh crore till 2030, in order to set up renewable energy capacity. But we've got Varsha joining in to give us more details. Varsha, good morning. What are the key updates that you picked up?
Yeah, so as you said, so yesterday ONGC had an annual general meeting. So here are the key takeaways that one should look out for. Now, company wants to expand petchem capacity to 8 million tons per year by 2030 from 3.4 million. Now, as Alex said, now company wants to invest rupees 1 lakh crore by 2013, setting up 10 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity, green ammonia plant, and offshore wind energy projects. Now, the company currently has 189 megawatt of capacity to generate electricity from renewable sources. The firm already has signed MOU for a 5 gigawatt in Rajasthan and is scouting for projects for similar size. Besides, it wants to set up 25 compressed biogas plants that will convert agri residue into gas that can be used to run automobiles or used in industries to generate electricity and fertilizer. Also, if you see the oil output from the Sakhalin is at 1,80,000 barrels per day, while in 2021 it produced 2,27,000 barrels per day. Now, company has no plans to raise stakes in Russian assets. Also, a company had announced merging its refining subsidiary Mangalore Refinery and Petrochemicals with Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited to leverage synergy in its refining vertical. Now, that is on hold due to the tax issues. Also, a company has begun oil and gas exploration in India's Mahanadi's basin. And as Alex said, company aims to spend 2 trillion rupees on path to achieve zero carbon emissions by 2038.
Right. Thanks, Vasha, for getting us the details. So that's with ONGC. But apart from that, you've been tracking a few other names as well. What are the other stocks we should be watching out for?
So few stocks that one should watch out. So I'll start with pharmaceutical companies. So first one we have Lupin. Now Lupin launches propranolol long-acting capsules to improve heart health in Canada. Now this is following the discontinuation of Inderal LA. Also, a company has received approval from US FDA for pirfenidone capsules. Now, this has an estimated annual sales of 95 million US dollars in the US. Also, the next we have is Unichem Lab. Now, company has received ANDA approval for its paracergal tablets from US FDA. Now, the estimated sales, annual estimated sales of this tablet is around 18 million US dollars in the US as on September 2022. Next, we have HCL Tech. Now, it has announced an exclusive preferred professional service agreement with Cloud Software Group. This is to implement, upgrade, and modernize and provide services for all TIPCO products for energy for enterprise customers across the globe. Then we have Jupiter Wagons. Now, the company is actually considering fundraise through any means in the board meeting, which is to be on September 5. Earlier, on May 15, 2023, company raised almost 125 crore through QIP. Now, Jupiter Wagons actually plans to invest almost 300 crores in the next 2 years to expand the operations. Now, maybe this is the reason that company is, considering the fundraise.
Absolutely. And quite a few stocks in that list also have moved quite substantially in the recent past. Varsha, thank you so much for joining in and for giving us those updates. Jupiter Wagons as well. And even in trade yesterday
was
yes,
moving quite a bit as
well. And in fact, a few of the other rail-related stocks, RVNL, for example, was up over 3%. You saw quite a few others names as well in the rail pack. That were going up in trade. There are more news updates and in fact stock-related news to talk about. We've got Saloni joining in with her list. Morning, Saloni. What do you have on your list today?
Morning. So first we've got Zomato, which so the SoftBank Group's affiliate, which is SVF Growth Singapore, is going to offload 1.17% stake in a large deal today for at least 940 crores. So SVF Growth is offering 10 crore shares at a floor price of rupees 94 apiece, which is a 0.7% discount to Tuesday's closing price. Earlier, Tiger Global sold its entire 1.4% stake in Zomato in a block deal on Monday at a floor price of rupees 91 apiece. Next, we've got GR Infra Projects. So, two wholly owned subsidiaries of the company executed concession agreements with the National Highways Authority of India yesterday. These projects were for the construction of 4-lane with paved shoulders in Belgaum, which is in the state of Karnataka. The projects are on a hybrid annuity mode basis, and the total project cost stands at rupees 1,427 odd crores. The completion is 2 years from the appointed date, and the operational period is 15 years from the commercial operation date. Third, we have MPS. So the subsidiary of the company, that is MPS Interactive Systems, has agreed to acquire 65% stake in each 65% stake each in 4 Liberate Group entities, namely Liberate Learning Australia, Liberate E-Learning, App E-Learn, and Liberate Learning New Zealand. So these acquisitions are for a total consideration of 9.32 million Australian dollars. The remaining 35% shareholding of each of the entities of Liberate Group will be acquired by MPS Interactive Systems in subsequent tranches. And lastly, there is news on Zee Entertainment. So the Securities and Appellate Tribunal is to hear Puneet Goenka's appeal against SEBI's confirmatory order. Additionally, we have a Motilal Oswal note on Zee. So the brokerage is retaining its buy rating on the company with a target price of rupees 320 apiece. That implies an upside of 21%. So Motilal Oswal has a positive outlook on the company mainly due to all the upsides that Zee will now see post the approval on its merger with Sony. And the combined entity's linear portfolio will create one of the largest TV broadcasting businesses, and it will overtake Star. And this entity will have the strength to capitalize on large-scale digital opportunities too.
That's an interesting one to watch out for. In fact, Zee could see some gyrations in trade today on the back of the order that comes out as well. Thank you, Saloni, for getting us the details. So watch out for Zee Entertainment pretty closely in trade as we speak. But apart from that, a whole host of financial names that are in focus in today's session as well. Himansh is standing by to get us more in terms of the names he's tracking. Good morning, Himansh.
Hi, good morning. So amongst the financial pack, we first have SBFC Finance, which is a nascent addition to the bourses. It listed back in August 16, a couple of weeks ago, and the company had raised a net of 550 crores through its fresh issue and offer for sale. Now, the company plans to augment its capital base and, tap into the 85% of the untapped MSME market across India. But their first set of quarterly results were as follows, with their net interest income standing at 141 crores, and they posted a total revenue from operations at around 230 crores and a profit of 47 crores. Their gross NPA and net NPA ratios stood at 2.54% and 1.55% respectively. Then we have Central Bank of India, where the bank entered into 2 co-lending partnerships with Samunati Financial Intermediation Services and IKF Home Finance for MSME and home loans and agricultural loans. Now, Samunati Financial is an NBFC operating in 22 states and has assets under management of over 1,150 crores. In a co-lending arrangement, 2 or more lenders here jointly provide a loan to a borrower. In this case, Samunati Financial will originate and process these loans, while Central Bank of India will take 80% of these loans on their books. And a similar arrangement is going to be worked out with IKF Home Finance as well. IKF Home Finance, by the way, operates in across 6 states, ranging from Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Gujarat. And lastly, we have SBI, where the bank has received an approval to set up its wholly owned subsidiary by SBI Fund Management at IFSC Gift City in Gandhinagar.
All right. And that's that last one is an interesting update, because I think HDFC became the first group to have a presence in the Gift City. We've got more details on bulk and block deals, and we've seen quite a few of these in the recent past. What's on the list today?
Absolutely. So amongst the bulk and block deals, the 5 notable ones from yesterday, where we have Capacite Infra Project, where Goldman Sachs Investments sold 3.75 lakh shares, which represents about 0.5% stake in the company for 203 apiece. Now, the stock closed 3.7% on the exchanges yesterday. Then we have Ratan Power India, where for 2 days in a row now, ABARC AST 002 Trust sold 5.4 crore shares, which represent around 1% of the company for 5.84 rupees a piece. Now, the company closed 8% higher on exchanges yesterday, following a similar offloading of shares on Monday. Then we have Reliance Power, where Citadel Securities bought 2.2 crore shares at 18 rupees a piece, and the stock closed up almost 4.5% up yesterday. APL Apollo Tubes, where we have promoter Rahul Gupta selling 15 lakh shares, about 0.5% stake in the company for 1,620 a piece. And the stock was actually down 2.6% on exchanges yesterday. And last, we have Ami Organics, where Girishankar Chovatia sold 6.2 lakh shares for about 1.7% stake in the company for about 1,250. And Morgan Stanley Asia, on the other hand, bought those 6.2 lakh shares for a similar average price. So those are the bulk deals in this exchanges yesterday, and we'll see how these stocks and what more deals are coming in action today.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And these
thanks.
are interesting names to watch out for as well. APL Apollo has been on people's buying radar. I think Ratan India also, I think second consecutive session where we've
Correct.
seen a bulk or a block happen. So interesting names. Thanks so much for getting us the details and seeing the way the setup is, Alex. Though overall, it is going to be a muted trade. It is a holiday across except for the markets, right? So
it is
clearly,
Raksha
it's
Bandhan,
Raksha
yes.
Bandhan. So clearly, there is that festivities mood that is ongoing. So probably volumes are expected to be muted in today's session, but clearly a positive consolidation that is on the cards, and that is what SGX, I beg your pardon, Gift Nifty is indicating as well, a positive start to trade. So let's hope for the best and see how the day
She's thinking
goes
about the
on.
gifts that she's going to get
from all the
later
brothers.
today.
Absolutely. So it's going to be an interesting day to watch out for in terms of trade. And as Alex was mentioning, a narrow band is what is on the cards. That's all that we have on this session. Thanks for watching, and lots more lined up on BQ Prime. Please stay tuned.